Team to reach the conference finals in the NBA playoffs. Minnesota eliminated Golden State Wednesday night in 5 games. They will play either Denver or Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals. Game 6 is in Denver tonight. Indiana will play New York or Boston in the East Finals. Game 6 is Friday night in New York. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
When the flames subside, who ensures that the stories endure? At KBLA Talk 1580, we're committed to preserving the voices that shape our community. We know people have short memories, and as long as this Black Talk radio station is on the air, we will not let Altadena be forgotten. We are honored to announce that the Altadena Historical Society will officially archive our recent town hall alongside every episode of Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. This is the show of record, the definitive source for tracking Altadena's roots, resilience, recovery, and reunion. These stories will now live on for students, scholars, researchers, and journalists seeking truth and legacy in the months and years to come. Because history isn't just made, it's honored, it's recorded, and it's passed forward. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavismiley.show.com. That's thetavismiley.show.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, Trump versus teachers. Trump versus teachers. The president of one of the largest teachers unions in the nation comes live in studio today, Cecily Myart-Cruz, with UTLA, United Teachers Los Angeles, in hour 2. In our third hour.
Women, this is our chance. It's time to get to work. Finally, Chicago has no one to be afraid of. Duda's dead.
We need to build something new.
Maybe now we can get some peace.
But it's still Chicago.
Streets always gonna have a villain.
Yeah, I'm ready for the fight.
I'm none like that old ass that was in charge before me. Any one of you disrespect me, I'll kill you.
Show me I'm ready for war. I'm ready for
Men have terrorized this city long enough. Women, we have to do something. Like what? To protect this city, we have to clean up these streets ourselves. One of these hoodlums killed my son. You planning revenge? Aren't you?
I'm begging you. Do whatever it takes.
My brothers and sisters, heavy is the head that wears the crown? Why does peace make us feel restless? Why are we so drawn to chaos? We need someone to show us a new way.
Women, this is our chance. It's time to get to work.
It is the final season of the Showtime program, The Chi, and we're talking today with three of the cast members, Luke James, Birgundi Baker, and Vic Mensa, better known to fans of the show as Victor Trig Taylor, Kiesha Williams, and Jamal. We'll talk about The Chi and celebrate its run on Showtime in our third and final hour today. But in this first hour, two more conversations. On the B side of this hour is Pope Leo XIV, the first black pope. Historic New Orleans collections genealogist Jari Honora unpacks the Pope's lineage on the backside of this hour. But we commence today's show in conversation with the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, Chokwe Antar Lumumba. Mayor Lumumba, good to have you on, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, brother Travis. Tavis, how are you doing?
Man, if I complained, I'd be an ingrate. Always delighted to talk to anybody in my home state of Mississippi, the state of my birth. I was born down in Gulfport, so it's a delight for me to be in conversation with you. Let me just start with a couple of broad questions, and then we'll narrow as we move through this hour. To my mind, at least, having had a series of conversations, of course, over the years about Mississippi, Mississippi wasn't exactly thriving in the Biden era. I'm thinking about the water issue in your town of Jackson and other issues I could point to. Wasn't exactly thriving in the era of Biden. How was the state of Mississippi doing in the era of Trump 2.0?
Well, I would define it not only for places like Jackson, Mississippi, but around the nation as a place or a moment of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. As we look at issues of water, I'm currently at a conference looking at resiliency over climate change impact. And those type of challenges have not been foreign to Jackson, Mississippi. Experiencing 2 30-year floods within a 4-year period of time, which exacerbates our challenges with respect to infrastructure. Making sure that the issues of our water insecurity were all the more daunting in order to confront. I do have to, pay some respect to the Biden administration in giving us historic funds in order to address those challenges.
Sure.
And so there's still uncertainty, knowing, exactly how this administration will address these longstanding challenges. And the risk of funding being cut off from cities is certainly leaving us in a concerned state.
We have, for years now, of course, been talking about the water issues in Flint, and then there's Jackson. There are other places I could point to. You kind of intimated this a moment ago. I've been doing a lot of work on climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience here at my home station in L.A. This program, of course, is heard across the country, but in L.A., we've been really focused on the issue of climate. And we know, of course, that black people and poor people suffer most from these climate maladies, these climate catastrophes. And so I ask, given that, whether or not race plays a part of a water issue in Flint. Does race play a part of a water issue in Jackson? I could do this all day long. You take my point.
Absolutely. It's the part of a conversation that many people don't want to have. And while, in Jackson, Mississippi, we don't have a lever that distributes water to the north side of town and a separate one that distributes one to the south side of town, we need to always understand that city planning is never neutral. It works to the benefit of someone, it works to the detriment of others. And it just so happens that those who live in the higher priced neighborhoods are closer to the water treatment facilities. And so we know what redlining looks like in our communities. We know what a lack of being able to secure loans, which, designates where people live. And so race certainly plays a factor in it. And so when we look at resiliency, we have to look at the question of equity as well. And so Jackson is a city that there is an inequitable or a disproportionate effect on those parts of the city which are the most densely Black and impoverished parts of our city. Jackson being a majority Black city, that still, it is a disproportionate effect on people who live in West and South Jackson, where the highest concentration of our people live.
Yeah. Jackson Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba is part of a grand legacy. He is the mayor, the outgoing mayor of Jackson. His father served as mayor of that city. So when I say he's part of a grand legacy, if you follow his career as I have, then you know exactly who he is and the work he's done. When we come forward, there's a great deal more I want to cover in this half hour. Today, in fact, marks the 55th anniversary of these Jackson State college killings of Philip Gibbs and James Green. Took place on May 15th, 1970. Last week on this program, we commemorated the 55th anniversary of the massacre at Kent State. Kent State, even all these years later, gets all this publicity, all this coverage, books and documentaries and films about Kent State. Nobody talks about what happened at Jackson State literally 11 days later. So we will commemorate that when we come forward. And a few more questions for the mayor of Jackson, Mayor Lumumba. And I'm glad to have him right now on Tavis Smiley.
From the Mert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. Think about your mentors and idols, the people who inspire you the most. While it may look like they have all the answers, they don't. But they do know when to ask questions and seek the support they need. In a world that glorifies hyper-independence, it's easy to forget that we're all better with a support system. Therapy is a great way to find a consistent source of support in your life, so you can break free from the outdated belief that seeking help is a sign of weakness. BetterHelp has experienced therapists ready to help you with challenges ranging from anxiety and depression to relationships and stress. It's convenient, too. You can join a session with the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. You can even send your therapist a message anytime something comes up. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/ABCRadio today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ABCRadio.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number, because Ray, he's going to text it live, and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, Chokwe Antar Lumumba, who I'm honored to have at the outset of today's program. Let's make the most of these 15 minutes I have left with him. I started this conversation, Mayor, by asking you about how Mississippi was faring in the era of Trump 2.0. Let me ask you more expressly and more specifically about cities. You are an African-American mayor. I made the point on this program, I guess a few weeks ago, that just a year or so ago, the four largest cities in this country had black mayors: New York, Chicago, L.A., and Houston. The former mayor of Houston, Sylvester Turner, went on to Congress, replacing Sheila Jackson Lee when she made her transition. So there's no longer a black mayor in the city of Houston. There is still in New York, there is still in Chicago, there is still here in L.A. where I sit, and all three of them are in trouble. Karen Bass in trouble here in L.A., Brandon Jackson in trouble in Chicago, Eric Adams in trouble in New York. It is possible, I pray not, but possible that we could go from having mayors, black mayors of the 4 largest cities one year, and then 2 years later, none of them have African-American mayors. That could be the case. But that said, across the country, there has been over the years, of course, a growing number of African-American mayors leading these municipalities. Now, that comes along with a great deal of criticism. Whenever Republicans and even Donald Trump himself want to critique cities in this country, they go after these African-American mayors. That's a long way of asking your sense of how black mayors and cities are going to fare over the next 3.5 years.
Absolutely. I think that we have to come to terms with the fact that not only is black leadership under attack, that we've moved away from a place where we should simply be concerned with leadership that looks like us and be more concerned with leadership that thinks like us. And I think the leadership that thinks like us is what is under attack. And so that's why I think we have to be able to draft a political agenda which the community accepts, that we have systems of accountability that not only hold black leadership accountable, but holds any leadership accountable, so that we're not so vulnerable to the attacks on any individual black leadership or any leadership that comes into place. And so the picture that you paint is a very accurate picture. Not only do we know that the individuals that you stated are in vulnerable conditions, I can tell you about legal attacks on many mayors. Sure. I would decline from saying their names just to maintain their privacy. And so it's a systematic, attack on our leadership in every regard. And so we have to be aware. Community has to be aware and engaged on those things, so that we make certain that those things that we want our leadership to uphold can not only be achieved, but they are protected in that process.
You mentioned the legal attacks that many are under are right about now. You are right about that. You declined to call their names for concerns of privacy, but your business is already out there. And so I'm glad you went there. Let me just follow you right quick. And I ask this, of course, respectfully, but we had a guest on this program who I think you may know, Ashley Woodard Henderson, formerly of Highlander. Brilliant young thinker, was on this program earlier this week, in fact, and she used you as Exhibit A for the attack that many African-American leaders are under. We all know, of course, following this race, and as I said, Mississippi is the state of my birth, so I always follow Mississippi politics. We know that you recently lost the Democratic primary. You were running for re-election there, but that was preceded by what many regard as a number of attacks on you. So I wonder, to the extent you can, or feel comfortable with it, you might say a word about the attacks that you were under that cost you the Democratic primary.
Yeah. Well, I can't go into detail, only to say that I'm not guilty of any wrongdoing. And I think that it is important that our people become aware prior to these attacks being launched. If you know that, now the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi is under this attack, if you've done your research to find that a disproportionate amount of black mayors across the nation have found themselves being targeted by legal efforts, then you should be asking yourself the question, why is that the case? Mm-hmm. And even diving into the history of how legislation or these efforts are passed from city to city in order to seize control of these communities, seize control of assets, seize control of the ability for predominantly black communities to engage in a self-determined way or push back on that. And then ask yourself the question of why other things aren't pursued. The nation has become aware of the TANF scandal in Mississippi. We've heard very little about that. There's been
that's the Brett Favre scandal, the former football player.
Yeah, the Brett Favre, where there was a pivot, in order to move away from that narrative, and so no one's talking about that now. Instead, we send cases down on these mayors and give you a new discussion of the day. And so the strategy is, if we can change the narrative, then no one is holding us accountable for the things that are very clearly wrong. Mm-hmm. The things that there is documented, and there's been award-winning journalism around showing, how these funds were stolen from, the most impoverished people in the state of Mississippi. Yeah. The fact that 90% of those who applied for TANF relief were denied. And so I think that it's part and parcel of an effort in order to restrict our ability to control our own destinies, to restrict our ability to build cities of value and accountability and building a new model of what we all deserve.
I'm going to push toward talking about this anniversary, this commemoration today in just a moment. But since we're on this, I want to just stay on this for a second. And I recognize, given your situation, you might not be able to comment on it. So let me just offer my own personal commentary. And if you feel the need or desire to add additional comment to it, I'm happy to hear that. But here's one of the things that concerns me. And the book on this has not been written yet, but I'm telling you right now that somewhere down the road, when historians and researchers have the time, somebody's going to write this story. So Mayor Lumumba is not the only one. There are many others. We can go from Mississippi to here in L.A. to Mark Ridley Thomas. We can jump up to New York and Eric Adams. And you can have your own you can have your own point of view about whether or not these persons are guilty or innocent. But just listen to my point for a second here. There was an exponential increase in attacks, if you prefer, cases brought against black leaders. There was an exponential growth in those attacks on black leaders in the Biden era, the likes of which I've not seen in a long time. So I'm asking the mayor just to stand down. I ain't trying to get him in trouble. This is Tavis talking, not Chokwe Lumumba. I'm telling you what I know. I follow this every day. And if you paid attention, you see it as well. What was happening during the Biden era in the Department of Justice? We can talk about Trump's DOJ all day long, Pam Bondi, and I ain't got no love for them with the ways that they are showing up as if receiving luxury planes from countries like Qatar is not a violation of the emoluments clause. We can go there all day long if we had the time. My point is that the story has not yet been written on the way that the Democratic Joe Biden and his Department of Justice went after African-American leaders. Let me just take Eric Adams for an example. You may or may not agree with what Eric Adams did. You may think he was guilty. That's just up to you. My point is simply this. In the history of New York City, Eric Adams is the first mayor to ever be indicted for anything, not even jaywalking. The first mayor. So are you telling me in a city that is rife with corruption that Eric Adams is the first mayor to ever allegedly violate? Eric Adams on this program a few weeks ago. He's the first mayor to ever get caught up in trouble? See, this is the stuff that is nonsensical when you just take time to think about it. I digress on that for now. I only repeat that the story has not yet been written about what happened to black leaders in the era of Joe Biden, not Donald Trump, in the era of Joe Biden. I pause on that for now. Somewhere down the road, y'all gonna say, I heard Tavis say this 10 years ago on his radio program. And somebody's gonna dig into this and do a series of articles, I hope, or a book about what happened during this era that nobody seemed to have talked about, because black people are the base of the Democratic Party. We supported Joe Biden, then we supported Kamala Harris, but nobody was talking about the way his Department of Justice showed up attacking black leaders. And can I go there? The way that same Department of Justice dragged their feet when it came to bringing charges against Donald Trump. Had it not been for another Mississippian named Benny Thompson, we wouldn't have had a committee that led the investigation, that gave Merrick Garland and the department what they needed to bring the charges, but then they slow walked this thing. The clock ran out, and Donald Trump is your president. I'm done. I digress. I go back to Mayor Lumumba. I just wanted to add that because nobody's talking about that. And again, somewhere down the road, that truth is going to come out. Today is the 55th commemoration of the murders, the massacre at Jackson State, that even 55 years later never gets talked about because everybody's still focused on what happened at Kent State 55 years ago. I've got 4.5 minutes, Mayor. I yield it all to you to offer a proper commemoration on this day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, we need to respect the fact that what took place was a state-sponsored massacre of young people at Jackson State. There were allegations that there was a sniper in one of the women's dormitory, and that's why the police opened fire on students. And unfortunately, it resulted in the loss of Philip Lafayette Gibbs and James Earl Green. James Earl Green was a Jim Hill high school student who was simply walking across campus to get from school to his home. And he was looking forward to graduation. Also, in addition to the trauma, the devastating loss of life that took place, the students were robbed of their graduation at that time and were only able to graduate some 50 years later, right? And actually able to walk across a stage. I was blessed that I had the opportunity to be the mayor at the moment that they were actually able to realize their graduation, but that the city of Jackson, the state of Mississippi, had never given an apology. And so I wanted to give an apology, and I think it's poetic that I was able to do so when that was right about the time that my father moved from Detroit, Michigan, to Jackson, Mississippi. And the circumstance was tense at that time. And shortly after, one of the officers who was the primary perpetrators of that shooting was killed in a shootout that took place with the Republic of New Africa. Actually a year later, he died in that. And so it's a story that is far too, it's not told frequently enough. That what happened was that, after an altercation with students from Millsaps or, some type of back and forth with students from Millsaps, that the Jackson Police Department, the state police, came to Jackson State campus. At the time, you could drive through the campus, and they just simply opened fired and gunned down students at Jackson State University.
There have been a number of anniversaries of late, and as a matter of fact, I was reading some commentary or comments, I should say, from listeners last evening. I try to stay on touch with what people are saying about this program across the country, and they've been thanking us, but noting that over the last couple of weeks we've conducted a number of conversations, Mayor, that are connected to various anniversaries, including this one, this commemoration today. But I said this, and people last night in responding to some of our listeners, that this particular storyline about Kent State and Jackson State 55 years later just remind us of the dangers of calling in police to shut down protests on college campuses. Might you say a word about that in 60 seconds, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. Circumstances that can be addressed through civil discussion. We're often interjecting police as the solution to these problems. And we shouldn't do that, not only for circumstances that should be civil conversations, but also we should restrict the amount of times we're engaging our young people with police, looking at them to be a substitution for issues that may be parental in nature. And so we have to be able to identify more humane methods of resolving conflict and not ultimately resulting in permanent solutions for temporary problems. When we look at, the devastation of what took place at Jackson State, that's still reverberating around our city. Even as a state, we can't move forward because we haven't repented for that.
Sure.
Repentance means that you not only acknowledge your wrongdoing, but you turn away from it.
That's right.
And so bearing this in the history books, or not even, making it sufficiently noted in the history books, allows for the harm, the trauma, the mistrust to be pervasive in Mississippi and throughout.
No, it's a timely reminder, and I thank you for the opportunity to talk to you about what happened on the campus of Jackson State 55 years ago. I thank you for your service as mayor of Jackson. I thank you for this conversation, Mayor Lumumba. All the best to you, sir.
Thank you, brother. And just want to acknowledge that I remember as a child when you spoke with my father. And so this is a full circle moment with me to be present on your program today. Thank you, brother.
That makes two of us full circle. Thank you for saying that. I remember that, and I got goosebumps when you said it. So thank you for your time. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem clashes with House Democrat Congressman Dan Goldman over immigration during a budget hearing, specifically about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, deported by the Trump administration.
Abrego Garcia is in his home country.
What steps have you taken?
If your continued advocacy for him were to...
I'm not advocating for him. I'm advocating for a court order, Madam Secretary.
The Supreme Court ordered his return, but the DOJ is contesting the ruling. A 19-year-old ex-Michigan Army National Guard member was arrested for planning an ISIS-inspired attack on a Michigan military base. He's charged with supporting terrorism and distributing destructive device info, facing up to 20 years per count. And Warner Brothers Discovery is renaming its streaming service back to HBO Max. CEO David Zaslav said they're returning to the brand known for its high-quality media. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL released the full schedule for the 2025 season. The Chargers will play the Kansas City Chiefs in their regular season opener. That game will be Friday night, September 5th in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The Rams will be at home for their regular season opener. They play the Houston Texans on Sunday, September 7th at SoFi. First regular season game for Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter and the Jacksonville Jaguars will be in Jacksonville on Sunday, September 7th against the Carolina Panthers. The Minnesota Timberwolves are the second team to reach the conference finals in the NBA playoffs. Minnesota eliminated Golden State Wednesday night in 5 games. They will play either Denver or Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals. Game 6 is in Denver tonight. Indiana will play New York or Boston in the East Finals. Game 6 is Friday night in New York. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
BET and PBS, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. Number 1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again. Holla.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on! On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are two big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is Resilience in the Face of Chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Love you. Love you.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
So we thank Jackson Mayor, outgoing Jackson Mayor, Chokwe Antar Lumumba, for getting us started today on this program. Now we pivot to a conversation with Jari Honora. Here's the question. Is Pope Leo XIV the first black pope? You've been reading these stories everywhere. He does, in fact, have Creole roots, and I'm delighted now to be in conversation with Mr. Honore to unpack the Pope's lineage. He is with the Historic New Orleans Collections. He's a genealogist, and I'm delighted again to have Jari Honore on this program. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
It's an honor to have you on. Let's jump right in and make the most of the time that we have. Take a few minutes here to tell me about Pope Leo XIV's Creole roots.
Absolutely. Well, Pope Leo's maternal family, his mother was Mildred Martinez Prevost. Her parents were from New Orleans. Certainly all 4 of her grandparents were natives of New Orleans, and even more ancestors going well into the 18th century. And they were consistently identified as people of color, listed as black or mulatto or colored in records here in New Orleans. Up to the time they left, they joined that migration northward to Chicago at some point between 1910 and 1911.
Mm-hmm. I've seen interviews featuring his brother, one of his brothers. I don't know if he has more than one, but I've seen an interview with one of his brothers that circulated where he said emphatically, point blank, that they have always identified as white. Have you seen those interviews? And if so, or if not for that matter, what do you make of the way they have framed, his brother at least, has framed their identity?
Pope Leo actually is one of 3 boys. He has 2 brothers. And yes, I've heard those interviews, and I am not surprised. I mean, I don't think they had any reason coming up in the 1950s and 60s in Chicago to identify as anything other than white, because long before they were born, again, somewhere around 1910, 1911, their family, who were able to, physically pass for white, they made that choice to do so. And so they left New Orleans, left their, large extended family here, and moved to Chicago and passed for white, or as we say down here, pasta blanc. And, this is so common. Yeah. This is so common to all of our families. We have a certain branch or certain individual relatives that we sort of hear from our parents, grandparents, left our communities, left our family life, and moved into the white world.
Yeah. I heard your response to the question I'm about to ask, but I'm asking it again because I want to draw a finer, I want to put a finer point on this particular issue. So tell me again how far back you have to go in Pope Leo XIV's family to find people who were, in fact, identifying as black. How far back?
You don't have to go very far at all. His mother, who was the youngest of 7 girls in her family, she was the only one born after the move to Chicago, and her birth certificate says white. But several of her sisters, who were all born, in the early years of the 20th century, so like 1906, 1908, 1900, what have you, their birth records say colored. And as recent as the 1900 census, right in the 7th Ward neighborhood of New Orleans, they are listed as black in the census. So this is not far, far back. This is a recent connection, and it shows that well within, the lifetimes of us, our parents, grandparents, there were people who made that life decision to move over into the white world. And it's sad, but you can see where some people made it as to protect their livelihoods.
Yeah. I want to come back to your use of the word sad in just a second, so hold on to that for a second. But give me some dates around, some years around. I asked how far back. You said not far back. What years are we talking about where his family did in fact identify as black? What years are we talking about here?
As I said, between 1900 and 1910,
okay,
you find a number of records that identify them as black.
Right. I just want, again, I re-asked that question just again for those listening, so you have the data points, right? When people ask you or talk about the Pope, whether or not he's black or white, we're talking 1910, y'all. That ain't very far back. And to Brother Honore's point, we're talking about his aunties who are listed.
That's right, his aunties.
His aunties are listed as colored on their birth certificates, and so this question about whether the Pope is the first black Pope or not. With all due respect to the protestations of his brother, the records say something just a little bit different. But you used the word sad a moment ago, and I'm always fascinated by this conversation. This ain't the first time. It is the first time I've had this conversation about a pope, but I've had all kinds of conversations you can imagine over the course of my career about black folk passing at various points in history. One of my favorite movies, and it is my favorite movie in part because it is my mother's favorite movie. I've seen it more times than I can count. There are two different versions. You know where I'm going. You know exactly where I'm going. It is one of my mother's favorite movies. My mother first introduced me to this when I was a kid. I've seen this movie more times than I can count. My favorite version, there are two versions, as you know. I love the Lana Turner version with Mahalia Jackson, I might add, singing at the funeral. It's an amazing film, Imitation of Life, and it tells the story of a black mama who had a daughter who passed. And it hurt her black mama's heart that her baby was living a life of trying to pass. And if you've never seen Imitation of Life, I encourage you, maybe this weekend. Again, my favorite version is the Lana Turner version. It's an amazing film. There are two or three films that I cry every time I see them. So why I watch this, I do not know. I can't stop myself from crying every time I watch it. Imitation of Life does it to me. Brian's Song does it to me. Beaches does it to me. I watch these films. I cry every single time I watch them. But Imitation of Life just does something to me. I raise that film in part because you used the word sad. Why did you use the word sad in terms of your reference to black people certain members, rather, of black families who decide that that's the way for them to pass?
First of all, you're so right. Both of those versions of Imitation of Life, the one with Claudette Colbert, which is the older one, and then with Lana Turner, they're very emotional films. The line that always resonates with me is when the daughter has begun her stage career and her mother attempts to see her in her dressing room. Woo! And she tearfully says, "Mama, if you see me on the street, don't stop to speak."
Lord. Yes, Lord.
And that, to go back to your question, when you talk about the sadness of it, these individuals who did pass may have been able to, move into neighborhoods that weren't open to our people at points in history. They were able to enter jobs that weren't open to our people, but they had to, in many cases, completely cut off ties to their moms, their dads, their brothers and sisters. They had to obfuscate their history, lie on records, and give false narratives. In the 1910 census, for example, the Holy Father's grandfather is listed as Maltese. Now, the research that I've done and some of my colleagues who I admire and trust greatly, we haven't found any connection to the island country of Malta. But, you always have to explain that little hue. You stand in the sun a little bit too long, and all of a sudden that melanin starts coming out, and you have to explain that away some kind of way. Let me just say one more thing. one of the founding fathers of the Rose Parade, Rose Bowl in California, the family that owned Baldwin Pianos from almost a century, one of the founders of Johns Hopkins University, the first, one of the early presidents of Georgetown University. All of these individuals accomplished great things, but prior to doing so, they had to leave the identified community of color and pass for white. What it shows is, to me, that genius, that intellect was there, but it couldn't be fully recognized and valued as long as those people had a black identity.
Brother Honora,
and the sad thing is they didn't even have a black skin, but they were definitely black people, but they had to pass in order to excel.
Man, you preaching right now. That's a powerful point, that the genius was always there. It just had to be denied. It couldn't show up in black form, but the genius was there, and the genius is undeniable. What a powerful point. When we come forward, I want to ask Jari Honora why this matters. Why does the true identity of the Pope actually matter? That's my question when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
California to the Carolinas. Everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
Jari Honora, we have hit a nerve. We've hit a nerve, man. I'm looking at all kinds of comments from people all across the country about people in their family who passed and how much it hurt them. I'm reading one right now that says, Tavis, my auntie and my uncle crossed over and never came back. and got a bunch of emojis of broken hearts. And there's all kinds of comments I'm seeing right now about the ways in which this conversation about people, black people passing, has hit a nerve. But you did it to me. So we got to go there. Here is the sound that Jari Honora mentioned moments ago from the Lana Turner version of Imitation of Life. Give it to me, Miles.
Are you happy here, honey? Are you finding what you really want?
I'm somebody else. I'm white. White. White! Does that answer you?
I guess so.
Then please, Mama, will you go? And never do this again. And if by accident we should ever pass on the street, please don't recognize me.
No! Jari, I can't take it, man. I can't take it.
Yeah, powerful lines.
Man, can you imagine that? Can you imagine saying to your mama, I'm white. Leave and don't come back. And if I should ever run into you on the street, don't speak to me. Don't acknowledge me. That's what she said to her black mama. Oh, that film does it to me every time. Imitation of Life. Our remaining moments with Jari Honora we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Well, these polymers aren't as flexible as batch K3.
Researcher Laurie is stretched thin.
Did you get the vulcanization analytics from V66? Oh, wait, are these rubber scores from last week?
She needs to hire new lab technicians so she can bounce back into her old self.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our matching platform lets you spend less time searching and more time connecting with candidates. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Freedom is an endless meeting, So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Jari Honora. Now I'm in my feelings. I'm gonna be sad, mad, upset all day long. Just hearing that scene from Imitation of Life. I've got 4 minutes left, Jari Honora. I want to give it all to you to address the question, as you will, sir, why this matters. All these conversations, all these articles, all this opining on whether Pope Leo XIV is, in fact, the first black pope. Why does the identity of the pope really matter?
I think that it does a couple of things. One, it sort of muddies the waters. It stirs up these kinds of discussions within our African-American families, within ultimately all of our American families, about who we actually are. And it demonstrates just how interwoven our family stories are, so that people, clearly we know that the vast majority of African Americans are not Roman Catholics, and so they may have had no interest or closeness to the story of a papal election or anything related to the Pope, but now they do.
Yeah.
And individuals who may be Catholics who thought that they had no interest or involvement in Black history, now all of a sudden, it's at the forefront of their minds as well. The other thing is, I hope, being a Black Catholic myself from Louisiana with 200 plus years of Black Catholic history behind me, I hope that this will draw attention to the Black Catholic community and all of the gifts that we have given to the church now, including its first American Pope and its first Pope of African American descent. And I'm hoping that he will promote the 6 causes for sainthood, for canonization, that are open on Black brothers and sisters from this country.
As a genealogist, I've got 2 minutes left here. As a genealogist, I don't mean to color this question, pardon the pun, I don't want to color this question any more than this. But when we have conversations like these, I'm curious as to how you as a genealogist view the whole notion of race and racism in this country.
It's an unfortunate man-made creation, social construct. I'm the millionth person to say that has impacted all of our lives, that has circumscribed all of our lives, in particular ways for our ancestors whose movements, whose access to education, to financial resources and everything were defined by race. And for us today, as their descendants, by opportunity and just the challenges to go back and research who we are. We have to dig, and we have to dig hard.
Yeah.
And I hope that others in the genealogical world, historical world, archival world will appreciate that when they encounter Afro-American researchers.
In these last 60 seconds, you teed this up earlier, and I want just to close on this note. What's your gut tell you as a genealogist about the ways in which, if we only knew how much Black genius has been covered up because of passing, because of racism, what's your gut tell you what we'd really discover about Black genius?
Mama, so many of us grew up with moms and dads who would say, don't go out there talking about people because you never know who's your cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in our dealings with each other as Americans across that color line, that would be my same statement. Don't go talking about each other because you never know who's your cousin, be it white, Black, or perceived as white or Black or otherwise.
I'll leave it there. He is Jari Honora, historic New Orleans collections genealogist. Delighted to have had him on to talk about the genealogy of Pope Leo XIV. And there you have it. I think we can say, whether they say it or not, whether his brother acknowledges it or not, the record and the data is incontrovertible. We have a pope who has a Black genealogy, and there you have it. Jari, thank you for your insights, man. Good to have you on this program. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem clashes with House Democrat Congressman Dan Goldman over immigration during a budget hearing, specifically about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, deported by the Trump administration.
Abrego Garcia is in his home country.
What steps have you taken?
If your continued advocacy for him were to...
I'm not advocating for him. I'm advocating for a court order, Madam Secretary.
The Supreme Court ordered his return, but the DOJ is contesting the ruling. A 19-year-old ex-Michigan Army National Guard member was arrested for planning an ISIS-inspired attack on a Michigan military base. He's charged with supporting terrorism and distributing destructive device info, facing up to 20 years per count. And Warner Brothers Discovery is renaming its streaming service back to HBO Max. CEO David Zaslav said they're returning to the brand known for its high-quality media. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL released the full schedule for the 2025 season. The Chargers will play the Kansas City Chiefs in their regular season opener. That game will be Friday night, September 5th in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The Rams will be at home for their regular season opener. They play the Houston Texans on Sunday, September 7th at SoFi. First regular season game for Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter and the Jacksonville Jaguars will be in Jacksonville on Sunday, September 7th against the Carolina Panthers. The Minnesota Timberwolves are the second team to reach the conference finals in the NBA playoffs. Minnesota eliminated Golden State Wednesday night in 5 games. They will play either Denver or Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals. Game 6 is in Denver tonight. Indiana will play New York or Boston in the East Finals. Game 6 is Friday night in New York. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
When the flames subside, who ensures that the stories endure? At KBLA Talk 1580, we're committed to preserving the voices that shape our community. We know people have short memories, and as long as this Black Talk radio station is on the air, we will not let Altadena be forgotten. We are honored to announce that the Altadena Historical Society will officially archive our recent town hall alongside every episode of Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. This is the show of record, the definitive source for tracking Altadena's roots, resilience, recovery, and reunion. These stories will now live on for students, scholars, researchers, and journalists seeking truth and legacy in the months and years to come. Because history isn't just made, it's honored, it's recorded, and it's passed forward. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Listen up, you can be anything in the world, and God we trust. An architect, doctor, maybe an actress, but nothing comes easy, it takes much practice. Like, I met a woman who's becoming a star. She was very beautiful, leaving people in awe, singing songs Lena Horne, but the younger version. Hung with the wrong person, got her strung on that. Sniffing up drugs, all in her nose. Could've died so young, now looks ugly and old. No fun, cause now when she reaches for hugs, people hold their breath, cause she smells of corrosion and death. Watch the company you keep and the crowd you bring, cause they came to do drugs and you came to sing. So if you're gonna be the best, I'ma tell you how. Put your hand in the air and take the vow. I know I can, be what I wanna be.
I'm Tavis Smiley, and delighted to have you with us in this hour of our program. In this hour, Trump versus teachers. That's how I'm billing it. Trump versus teachers. I am delighted to have in studio the president of one of the largest teachers unions in the nation, Cecily Myart-Cruz with UTLA, United Teachers Los Angeles. Cecily, good to see you. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Tavis. Good to be here.
It's good to have you here. So Cecily walked in the studio that last hour about passing is still resonating. So I take it you've seen Imitation of Life.
Of course I have.
Yeah. And what were your takeaways as a young person watching that film?
Yeah, I mean, all credit to my mom and dad, Mary and Cecil Myart.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, just the indictment on the Black mother.
Yeah.
And as a young person, just watching it and feeling there's no way that I could ever do that to my father.
Yeah.
And so my story is not of passing, is of actually upholding my dad who was Black. And I remember being in the laundromat, and I was probably 5 or 6, and it was all Latinos in the laundromat, and they were all looking around, and they're like, Where's your dad? Where's your dad? Where's your dad? And I just pointed out my father, and I was like, that's my Black daddy over there.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a notion of passing, but I do know uplifting Black people has always been number one.
Yeah, it is fascinating. I was thinking about this literally as you were walking in. In case you just tuned in, we were talking about Pope Leo XIV and his Creole lineage, and whether they acknowledge it or not, we got the first Black Pope. That's his backstory. His brothers and others are saying they identify as white. Okay, you can identify as white, but the backstory, the data, the genealogy doesn't lie. So we were talking about that in our last hour. In case you've just tuned in, we raised the notion of this film, Imitation of Life. If you've not seen it, there are 2 versions. Claudette Colbert. My favorite version is the Lana Turner version because Mahalia Jackson is in that version.
That's correct.
Singing at the funeral, as I said last hour. So we were talking about sort of passing in the last hour. It hit a nerve, as I said, because I see all kinds of commentary on our socials and people commenting in real time. About the passing thing, and I thought as you walked in, and so your story sort of animates this about your Black father, and how all these Latinos in the laundromat were saying, "Where's your daddy at?" You said, "There's my Black daddy right there." Nowadays, with the kids in your schools and all across the country, that issue is not as acute. Or maybe acute's the wrong word. It's different these days because there's so many mixed children. I mean, of all kinds of races.
That's right.
And when you talk to people, as I just did with Jari Honora, as a genealogist, about how he views the issue of racism, I want to bring this forward to the kids in our schools today, because these kids are so mixed. Tiger, was an outlier some years ago. Now everybody's mixed, right? He made up his own term, Coblinasian, all the things that he's mixed with. But when you talk to people about racism, which obviously is, it was created and it can be uncreated, right? It was. So you have these kids that are mixed these days. And when you talk about racism, one of the hopes that people share with me all the time about how we address the issue of racism is through the mixed genealogy of kids today, so that 100 years from now, 200 years from now, racism might not be the thing that it is now, because there's so much mixing of the races, and that gives some people hope. I don't know if that's overstating it, but since you're one of those people, what's your read of that?
We can always be hopeful.
Yeah.
But I would say that we have to call it out.
Yeah.
So you just spoke of Tiger Woods. He's Black. I don't care what he says and what label.
Exactly.
I'm a Black biracial woman. I'm mixed Mexican and Black. I am a Black biracial woman, period, end of story. And I do feel that when we take away the ethnic studies, real liberated ethnic studies, the actual teaching the truth about where we come from, who we are, and that is happening now. This absolute erasure of a people, of our culture. It happened with our native indigenous folks, Black folks. It's happening now, coming out of DC and other places. If we're not teaching truth, then what are we teaching?
Yeah. That's the question. Let's wrestle with that in this hour. I'm looking at Cecily. That was not just rhetorical. We can unpack that as we move through this hour. She asked it and stared at me. And so we will wrestle with that as we move through this hour. We will talk about teaching the truth. She used a beautiful phrase a moment ago talking about that film, Imitation of Life. The part that many of us have a hard time dealing with is the indictment on her mother. The indictment on her Black mother. We're going to talk in this hour about the indictment on teachers in this country. This is going to be a wonderful tribute to Marion and Cecil Myart as we move through this hour. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening.
Charitable listening.
It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. Think about your mentors and idols, the people who inspire you the most. While it may look like they have all the answers, they don't. But they do know when to ask questions and seek the support they need. In a world that glorifies hyper-independence, it's easy to forget that we're all better with a support system. Therapy is a great way to find a consistent source of support in your life, so you can break free from the outdated belief that seeking help is a sign of weakness. BetterHelp has experienced therapists ready to help you with challenges ranging from anxiety and depression to relationships and stress. It's convenient, too. You can join a session with the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. You can even send your therapist a message anytime something comes up. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/ABCRadio today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ABCRadio.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
You really about to do it? 40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music. You really about to do it? Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
Who among us doesn't like black music? But Kendrick is right. This moment is so much bigger than music. These are serious times. We've got serious problems, and we need serious people who understand that slogans are not solutions. When you want substantial and sober analysis about things that matter to you and the ones you love, this is where you turn. We're KBLA Talk 1580. And we've got your black.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number, because Ray, he's going to text it live, and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in.
But we're okay with that.
You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with the pride of Marion Cecil Myart, Cecily Myart-Cruz, who's the president of UTLA, United Teachers Los Angeles, one of the largest teachers unions in the nation. And so we are spending this hour trying to unpack Trump versus teachers. Trump versus teachers. That's our frame for this hour and what that is all about. Let me just start with this. I was saying to Cecily during the break there that I've been at this for a long time now. And I can go all the way back to the Reagan era if I needed to. I really don't. But there's something about Republicans and education, and I'm not sure that I quite get it. At worst, one could read the way they move on education issues as having some sort of vitriolic hatred of education. And I don't want to believe that that's the proper frame, because many of them are educated. Obviously, they've gone to great schools, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't want to just be lazy and say, just flat out Republicans hate education, but they certainly do hate the Department of Education, and they've been trying to destroy it since the Reagan era. And Donald Trump is doing more to bring that to fruition than any other president since Ronald Reagan. So let me just start broad. We'll narrow as we move through the hour. What is your read of? We'll get to Trump and teachers specifically, but just Republicans and education.
Well, I mean, I feel one of the biggest issues is this notion of choice.
Right.
So give states the choice, give parents choice. Parents do have choices. However, private institutions, private schools have, at best, they have 10 students, 15 students in a class. That's an ideal class size. Everybody could agree with that. But our schools don't have the luxury, have the resources, have the people power to have 15 kids per. And so that is that's a huge disparity. And when we're talking about giving tax breaks to the rich, and that's on the backs of our most marginalized communities and families.
Yeah. What indict for me further, if you will, this notion of tax breaks to the rich, while we have schools in inner cities with 50 kids in a room.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the point, right? So if you're an ultra wealthy person, and you have the financial means to send your kids off to a private school, great. Yeah. But I would like to see every school as a great public schools, because every student deserves to have a free public education. They deserve to have the resources, the staffing, the mental health resources. Those are the things, having enrichment, that's not an afterthought, having field trips that are not an afterthought, all of these things. But if you're saying, okay, here's choice, and we're going to give you, $30,000 coupon where you can take to a private school, what are you taking away from the public school? You're taking away talent out of that school and so forth. So those things are actually occurring. And what we want to say is, even the playing field, every school, like I said, should be well resourced. Every educator should be able to have just one job, not being an Uber driver, not working a second job or bartending or whatever. We have folks doing that, and it's not sustainable for public education. And a lot of folks will say, oh, well, public education didn't do anything for me. I'm going to say I'm a product of public education. And yes, it did everything for me. It gave me hope. It gave me opportunity. And if you actually poured the resources into the schools, not testing, not all of these data points. If you actually do outdoor education and hands-on learning, our babies would soar to new heights. And that's what we want for every kid.
Let me ask you a point-blank question, and you can take it anywhere you want. We got the hour, of course, to unpack all this. Is the public education model broken?
I think it's broken because of the lack of resources in the public education system. But our educators are making lemonade with lemons that they're given.
When you say lack of resources, can I take that to mean, I hope not, but you tell me, can I take that to mean this conversation is just about money? That the only problem with public education in inner cities is there's not enough money?
No.
Okay.
We need to have staffing. Right now, coming out of a pandemic, we need more mental health resources and trauma-informed care for our babies. They need to have psychologists, counselors. We need to have psychiatric social workers, and not just at the high school level. We need them in the elementary schools. We need more child care centers where we have babies that can already get into schools at, in pre-K and TK.
Yeah. I asked you a moment ago, is the public education model broken? We heard your response. Let me just ask you now about whether the profession of teaching is in trouble. Speaking of data points, everything I read suggests to me that there is now and is going to be an even worse teacher shortage in this country. So talk to me about the profession. We were talking earlier about the movie Imitation of Life. I keep going back to that. There's a scene where the black mama goes to the school, as you recall, and her daughter, her little baby, has been passing at school. And she left her lunch, and her mama took her lunch to school. And she walks in the classroom, and the teacher says, "There are no colored kids in this classroom." She says, "Oh, yes, that's Sarah Jane. That's my daughter." And the little girl's just embarrassed and runs out the classroom. Again, I'm on this today. Imitation of Life. We got into it with in our last hour, so it's still in my head. I raised that in part because back then, the only thing that many black folk could do, certainly black women, was to be going to the teaching profession.
Yes.
And now here we are in 2025, and again, everything I read suggests to me that the profession itself is in trouble. It's a big question. Take it as you will.
I think that I won't say that my profession is in trouble. I will say that the priorities are upside down.
Okay.
And so the way the priorities go, if you go to any school, right now it's testing season. And because there's data matrix, then we spend a whole bunch of time testing. Well, where do you get these tests from? Oh, they're purchased. And so when you have Pearson and ETS and Stanford and all of these tests, those cost billions of dollars. Imagine if we didn't have that type of testing and you could actually pour in $1 billion into schools. Guess what?
Yeah.
You'll see schools and our kids flourish. But if we're trying to hit data points and data points and data points, where's the hands-on learning opportunities? Yeah. That's what our students need. And if you talk to any student, they will tell you they want art, they want music, they want drama, dance, singing. All of these things I went to LA public schools. Where my son goes now. I graduated from that school, and I had a beautiful experience at that school. I was in the drama program. We had an actual drama teacher. I was schoolmates with Leonardo DiCaprio. David Arquette, folks went to our public schools and got their drama and their training right there. So it can be done. It's our lack of will. Yeah. And if we are going to have a teacher shortage and our district and districts around the country don't pour into educators, then you won't have teachers. And no, it's not all about money, but if you do not recruit and retain our newest educators, then this whole system is kaput.
Yeah.
We have to do more with our people, and we do have to pay them a living wage.
Mm-hmm. I want to come back to the money in a second here, but let me just ask you this. No naivete, as I often say in asking this question. But why is it that whenever school budgets get tight all across the country, arts programs, and I mean all the arts, are the first ones to get cut? What's that about?
Well,
As you see it, yeah.
How I see it is because folks don't deem it important. Mm-hmm. And we passed a whole Prop 28 in the state of California, an initiative. The author is our former superintendent, Austin Butner. It passed with over 77%. And guess what? We're not implementing it. Our school district likes to supplant instead of supplemental monies for arts and hiring more arts educators, drama teachers, and so forth. We don't do it because those aren't the real priorities. And when we say that we want to have well-adjusted children that have all kinds of varieties to fall back on, when all you're doing is testing and test prep, what are you actually training children for?
Yeah. I think our country is going to be immeasurably hurt in the years to come by continuing to cut these arts programs.
Absolutely.
And all the data is clear that when you are exposed to art, when you're exposed to music, it just makes you a more well-rounded person. And it makes you perform better in the other areas of your life.
Absolutely.
Am I not right about that?
No, you're absolutely right, especially in math.
Yeah.
When you are, having music and you're learning time and so forth, that helps you in all of your other subjects. And I think it's a real shame that we don't pour more resources and funding into the programs that actually benefit children, that children would, come to school and want to be there. We took out automotive. We took out shop classes. We took out home ec classes. I remember having those classes.
As do I.
And some people ended up going into the automotive field, right? And became brilliant mechanics that are making, six figures because they're really good.
I know my mechanic ain't cheap.
There you go.
He has a high school education, but he is not cheap.
That's right. Because he learned a craft and a skill. Yeah. And when we take out career technical ed programs and not give our folks opportunities, you can't just say, you have to be college bound. Some kids want to be a plumber. Some want to be a mechanic. Some want to have a craft and skill, carpentry and building things. We need to have those high quality jobs. And most of those jobs that I just mentioned are union jobs. Yeah. And so we should be training our next generation of workforce to have good paying union jobs.
Let me just talk back to something you said earlier. You were talking about all the money, the billions of dollars. Indeed, it is billions in the testing community. What if I said to you, and I'm actually going to say to you, that education in this country, frankly, has become a racket. It's a money-making racket. If I said that to you, and I think I just did, you'd respond how?
I would say you're absolutely right. We had the past education secretary under the first Trump administration as Betsy DeVos, someone that made an absolute profit from the Amway company and also Hurricane Katrina. If you look back through, you have Betsy DeVos, you have Trump, you have John Arnold, people that thrived on disaster capitalism. When the Puerto Rican hurricane hit over there, the same way. The only way that the Puerto Rican Teachers Union could actually get money to rebuild schools is that they had to sign on to Pearson and Stanford for testing. You can't do that. But they did. And that's why it is a racket. And that is why it serves billionaires and not the most marginalized.
We're talking about teachers versus Trump, actually the other way around. Trump versus teachers. We haven't gotten to that part of the conversation. We will when we come forward. It's abundantly clear that Donald Trump has a thing about the Department of Education, doing everything he can to dismantle it to what end and for what purpose. We'll unpack that part when we come forward. Cecily Myart-Cruz, she's the president of one of the largest teachers unions in this country. It just happens to be UTLA, which means I'm honored to have her in studio. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward?
Because he's not going back.
And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A New Jersey couple, 38-year-old Brenda Spencer and 41-year-old Brandon Mosley, who is black, are accused of abusing and holding their daughter captive for years. Camden County Prosecutor Grace McCauley announced the charges, stating they confined their daughter in a dog crate and later chained her up.
To me, this is the most abhorrent, heinous crime anyone could commit.
The now 18-year-old escaped last week and sought help from a neighbor. Chris Brown was arrested in England for allegedly hitting music producer Abe Diop with a tequila bottle at a London nightclub back in 2023. Diop filed a $16 million lawsuit following the incident. Brown was taken into custody at the Lowry Hotel in Manchester, as this is his first time back in the UK since the incident. And World Pride gets underway in Washington, D.C. this weekend. The international event begins Saturday and will run through June 8th. More information is available on the World Pride website. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year and their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL released the full schedule for the 2025 season. The Chargers will play the Kansas City Chiefs in their regular season opener. That game will be Friday night, September 5th in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The Rams will be at home for their regular season opener. They play the Houston Texans on Sunday, September 7th at SoFi. First regular season game for Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter and the Jacksonville Jaguars will be in Jacksonville on Sunday, September 7th against the Carolina Panthers. The Minnesota Timberwolves are the second team to reach the conference finals in the NBA playoffs. Minnesota eliminated Golden State Wednesday night in 5 games. They will play either Denver or Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals. Game 6 is in Denver tonight. Indiana will play New York or Boston in the East Finals. Game 6 is Friday night in New York. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again. Holla, holla.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on. On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
We love you. Love you.
He's a paradigm pioneer
and the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
I love the violin.
I think a lot of people see a broken thing and they just think it's broken. It could be anything. Maybe it's public schools.
Or maybe it's the United States or any other part of the world.
Maybe it's just that $20 fiddle found out to swap me.
But when we see a broken thing, we think, oh, with a little something here, a little something there, we can fix the part that's broken and make things whole again.
It's difficult work.
But no matter what,
you do whatever it takes because
fixing stuff is one of the best things that humans do.
That's why this is not just a musical instrument repair shop. When an instrument breaks, there's a student without an instrument. No, not in our city.
Even if they don't know me, we know it could change their whole life.
That is sound from the Oscar-nominated documentary, The Last Repair Shop, about LAUSDs, that's Los Angeles Unified School District, about their musical instrument repair shop. In case you've just tuned in, my guest in this hour is Cecily Myart-Cruz. She's the president of UTLA, United Teachers Los Angeles, one of the largest teachers unions in the nation. Our conversation in this hour is about Trump versus teachers, and Cecily was making the point earlier. I asked her a question, in fact, about why when budgets get tight, it's the arts programs and the trade programs that get eliminated first. She gave a brilliant answer to that, but I just wanted to play a little sound from that amazing documentary called The Last Repair Shop. Your thoughts, Cecily Myart-Cruz.
Yes, beautiful film. If you haven't seen it, please do. Those are our partners, SEIU Local 99 members. And what they do is give life and hope to children every single day. When we talk about educators, we're not just talking about teachers. We're talking about education workers that do the hard work, the unseen work of taking care of our babies. And, we can't. What we've done is we've praised the Last Repair Shop and we've praised the arts, but when it comes to actually putting it in practice, we don't. Our superintendent was there at the Oscar ceremony on hand with them when they won the award, but these are the departments that you're cutting. These are the lives that remain broken, as they said in there. When we take broken things, we fix it, we repair it for a new tomorrow, for a child that will get that instrument and breathe life into it. That's what we must do. And that's what Prop 28 really spoke about, that proposition, putting more arts in schools. We have a duty, not a dereliction of duty, an actual duty, because having arts is a right for our babies, not a privilege.
Yeah. As I said earlier, we're talking in this hour, broadly speaking, about Trump versus teachers. And one of the points, I can call them bullet points under that header, is the following. Here in L.A., I've had conversations with people in Chicago, in New York. All kinds of folk come on this program, of course, every day. And this is becoming, I used the word acute earlier, I backed off of it. I'm now embracing it for this particular point. It's becoming more and more acute every day. When we see these stories of ICE coming into schools and snatching kids or threatening parents with knowing what schools their kids are going to, it's happening all across the country. As the head, again, of one of the largest teachers unions in this country, what's your read of the way that ICE is showing up and intimidating, threatening parents and their babies?
Yes, we had two schools about a month ago, Lillian Street Elementary and Russell Street Elementary, that the ICE agents came on campus and demanded to see 5 through 8-year-olds on the campus. And because we have a sanctuary policy in this district, and we have the sanctuary policy in the city, they were turned away. Our educators were right on top of it to not allow ICE to interfere and take our babies. This has damaged our community. Our undocumented folks have been living in the shadows, are not coming to school because of the fear and the intimidation. And it's really a shame. It's shameful that this administration would do this to families and students who are trying to have a better life and get the education they so rightly deserve. And anyone who says anything to the otherwise just has no heart. Yeah. And really, I feel ashamed that this country has become this. But we are going to stand against ICE. We are going to stand firmly on our sanctuary policies, and United Teachers Los Angeles will stand in the gap for every immigrant family across this city.
There's a big rally coming up here in Southern California, in LA specifically, called Fight for Schools. It's an effort to stop Trump and Musk. I'm looking at the flyer. It says Stop Trump and Musk. Fight for Schools, a big rally coming up here at SpaceX, no less. We'll talk about that in a moment here. Before I get to this big rally, and there are these rallies taking place all across the country.
Yes.
This is not just an LA thing, all across the country. People are fighting to save schools, fighting to save education. I just happen to have the president of UTLA in studio with me today. But again, we're talking about Trump versus teachers. There's no debate about this, that black and brown students in particular, black and brown students are in limbo as this administration has held up billions of dollars in funding for school districts all across this country. They're holding up funding and they're cracking down, of course, on DE&I. We know that as well. But talk to me about Trump versus teachers and all this money that is being held in abeyance at the moment.
Yes. You know, in Los Angeles, we're a little bit shielded because of where we are and being a sanctuary city. But places like Texas and real red states and rural places, because that's where the target is. But we know it's coming to us. Special education has been under attack for many years. We don't pay into fulfilling the actual promise that we should. So Los Angeles Unified School District puts in $1 billion into special ed every year. And all across the country, that is happening. When they're threatening to take away student meals, Title I services, Title IX services, and Title IX services are for our women and girls, talking about stripping protections for LGBTQIA plus youth. That is a problem. And so it's a full frontal assault on everything that we love, every single thing that we value, in making sure that education is a right, not a privilege, for every single student. And that's what Trump and Musk are doing. They're hiding, they're shielding, they're taking away, they're using these very rogue tactics to take and dismantle, when we should be uplifting and pouring resources in to our schools.
So I mentioned a moment ago, black and brown students in particular are in limbo as this administration holds up billions of dollars in funding the states all across the country. But to be more exacting about that, this administration has stopped over $1 billion in funding for school mental health.
Yes.
That's the point that Cecily Myart-Cruz made earlier in this conversation. And that's where you just, this stuff just turns your stomach. The funding issue is enough in and of itself, but you're stopping funding for mental health for these kids, for these babies. That, I say all the time that the hottest place in hell ought to be reserved for people who harm children.
Absolutely.
And that is a direct harm to children when you stop the funding for their mental health services. That's what's happening in this era of Donald Trump 2.0. More with Cecily Myart-Cruz when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Freedom is an endless meeting, so let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Cecily Myart-Cruz. I want to spend the rest of our time talking about what educators do in a moment like this. We've been talking about Trump versus teachers. When you're being put upon this way, what do educators do? But I just got 2 quick minutes here. You were saying something to me off air, and it just hit me in my heart. And I wonder if you just might speak to it very quickly here. You told me when you leave the studio today, you're headed to a particular school. I shall not name that school. Headed to a particular school because one of the educators there took their own life. And you were telling me other stories about this. Are teachers under that kind of pressure these days?
Yes. And when we don't have mental health services available for our kids and our educators, the constraints are very, very, we're in a pressure cooker situation. Yeah. You're in a pressure cooker situation to perform. That your test scores have to be a certain way. A few, less than 10 years ago, LA Times ran a story about talking about value-added measures. Mm-hmm. And it was the 2 Jasons, Jason Song and Jason somebody, I can't think. Sure. It was almost 14 years ago. And they wrote about how folks were ineffective in their classrooms. And one gentleman from a school, they wrote this whole story, and the parents loved this teacher, and he bought clothes for kids and bedding for homes and things, and they wrote him as an ineffective teacher because his test scores didn't meet the mark, and he took his own life.
Jumped off a freeway.
He didn't jump off a freeway.
That's a different teacher.
That's a different teacher.
I remember this story. The teacher jumped off the 5 freeway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that is the weight of, the work that we do. Yeah. And when we don't put mental health resources and we don't give people the adequate supports, then it can be a tragic situation. And I, for myself, and thinking about all of our 39,000 educators and educators across this nation that are doing their best with the least amount of resources. We want them to feel successful. We want them to be successful. And we need district superintendents and so forth to pour in resources into the classroom and the school.
No, I hate to hear that, but I can imagine, given the frame you put us in, I can imagine that when your test scores in your class don't measure up and everybody's looking at you funny because it's bringing down the overall test score of the school, that puts a different kind of pressure on the teacher in that classroom because we insist on teaching to the test, and you've indicted that quite nicely in this hour. But hate to see teachers feeling that kind of pressure to the point that they take their own lives. All right, when we come forward, the exit question is simply this: in a moment like this, what do educators do when the president of the United States is challenging you to a duel? When it's Trump versus teachers, what do teachers do? That's where we'll close when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
BET and PBS, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley. Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
Cecily Myart-Cruz has been our guest in this hour. Always delighted to be in conversation with her. She is the president of UTLA, United Teachers Los Angeles, one of the largest teachers unions in the nation. And who better to have in studio when we're in a moment of Trump versus teachers than the president of UTLA. So I thank Cecily for coming in studio. I've got 4 minutes left. I'll give it all to you. My big exit question is, what do educators do across the country in a moment like this?
Stand up and fight back. We have to fight back and fight forward. So this is not a negative approach. It's standing up for our rights. It's asserting our rights, but also it's what is the fight forward. Mm-hmm. And so it always reminds me of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's quote talking about finite disappointment.
Oh, yeah.
And that's finite disappointment brings infinite hope.
That's right.
And in a time such as this, we need to have hope because hope is a wellspring, right? And we have to have the hope that things are going to look better. We've got to have the hope that we are going to make it out of this mess that we're in, this chaos, this destruction. And what Musk, who is not an elected official, has been able to ravage through with his Doge team, through Social Security, through the Treasury, through all of these things, bringing South Afrikaners here at a time where you're pushing immigrants out.
That's right.
You're bringing refugees in.
Yeah.
That is a contradictory statement. And so that is an indictment of itself. So for us to show up at tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Saturday, May 17th from 11 to 1 at 1 Rocket Road, we are standing up and asserting our rights to say enough is enough. It is time to start pushing back. This is happening in Sacramento. This is going to happen in San Diego, in San Francisco, in Hanford. We are coming together across California, and I know that other places across the city have had enough. This is the time to take back what is ours. And what is ours is public education, the fundamentals of ethnic studies, of teaching the truth, and actually asserting that we must fight for the common good. We must fight for our people, not on our watch. Will you disappear, folks? Will you jail, folks? Not on our watch. Will we go down without a fight? We are fighting back. We are fighting forward.
That's why she's a president of UCLA. She can rally. She can fire up the crowd. Very quickly in less than 30 seconds. You mentioned 1 Rocket Road. For those listening across the nation, tell me the significance of that location. Why you chose that?
We chose that location because we're taking it right to Elon Musk.
There you go.
At
SpaceX.
Yeah. We're letting him know he's on notice. Trump is on notice, and guess who else is on notice? Our Los Angeles school district, because we're in contract bargaining now, and we are not giving up without a fight.
Yeah, I wanted her to just put a fine point on that. Those Elon Musk SpaceX is here in Southern California, and so they're going straight to 1 Rocket Road with their protest this weekend called Stop Trump and Musk, Fight for Schools. And again, this is one of many protests all across the country in this era of Trump versus teachers. Cecily Myart-Cruz, president of UTLA, delighted to have you in studio as always. Thank you for your time and your work and your witness.
Thank you. Thank you, Tavis.
More of Tavis, Smiley, when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A New Jersey couple, 38-year-old Brenda Spencer and 41-year-old Brandon Mosley, who is black, are accused of abusing and holding their daughter captive for years. Camden County Prosecutor Grace McCauley announced the charges, stating they confined their daughter in a dog crate and later chained her up.
To me, this is the most abhorrent, heinous crime anyone could commit.
The now 18-year-old escaped last week and sought help from a neighbor. Chris Brown was arrested in England for allegedly hitting music producer Abe Diop with a tequila bottle at a London nightclub back in 2023. Diop filed a $16 million lawsuit following the incident. Brown was taken into custody at the Lowry Hotel in Manchester, as this is his first time back in the UK since the incident. And World Pride gets underway in Washington, D.C. this weekend. The international event begins Saturday and will run through June 8th. More information is available on the World Pride website. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL released the full schedule for the 2025 season. The Chargers will play the Kansas City Chiefs in their regular season opener. That game will be Friday night, September 5th in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The Rams will be at home for their regular season opener. They play the Houston Texans on Sunday, September 7th at SoFi. First regular season game for Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter and the Jacksonville Jaguars will be in Jacksonville on Sunday, September 7th against the Carolina Panthers. The Minnesota Timberwolves are the second team to reach the conference finals in the NBA playoffs. Minnesota eliminated Golden State Wednesday night in 5 games. They will play either Denver or Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals. Game 6 is in Denver tonight. Indiana will play New York or Boston in the East Finals. Game 6 is Friday night in New York. No debates, no speculation, just just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
When the flames subside, who ensures that the stories endure? At KBLA Talk 1580, we're committed to preserving the voices that shape our community. We know people have short memories, and as long as this Black Talk radio station is on the air, we will not let Altadena be forgotten. We are honored to announce that the Altadena Historical Society will officially archive our recent town hall alongside every episode of Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. This is the show of record, the definitive source for tracking Altadena's roots, resilience, recovery, and reunion. These stories will now live on for students, scholars, researchers, and journalists seeking truth and legacy in the months and years to come. Because history isn't just made, it's honored, it's recorded, and it's passed forward. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
For the people. This is street radio for unsung hero. Riding in the Rego, trying to stay legal. My daughter found Nemo, I found a new primo. Yeah, you know how we do it for the people and the struggle of the brothers and the folks, the lovers of the dope. Experiment to discover hope, scuffle for notes. The rougher I wrote, times was harder. Went from rock starter to the voice of a martyr. Why white folk focus on dogs and yoga? My people on the low end trying to ball and get over. Lyrics are like liquor for the fallen soldier. From the bounce to the ounce, it's all our culture. Every day we hustling, trying to get them customers. Law, we ain't trusting them. Thick bras, we lusting them. Sick and tired of punching it. I look on the bus at them. When I see them struggling, I think I'm touching them. The people. About the people. About the people. About the people. About the people. This is street radio for unsung hero. Riding in the Rego, trying to stay legal. My daughter found Nemo, I found a new primo. Yeah, you know how we do it for the people. The people said that I was sharp on TV at the Grammys. Though they tried to India, I read me. Got backstage and I bumped into Stevie. He said no matter what, the people gon' see me.
I'm Tavis, Smiley. Delighted to have you with us in this hour of our program. And in this hour, as promised, a conversation about the final season. Say it ain't so, say it ain't so. It is the final season of the Showtime program, the hit Showtime program, The Chi. And in this hour, we're joined by three of the cast members, Luke James, Birgundi Baker, and Vic Mensa, better known to fans of the show as Victor Trig Taylor, Kiesha Williams, and Jamal. Before I commence our conversation with these amazing thespians about the last year of The Chi, some sound from The Chi.
Women, this is our chance. It's time to get to work. Finally, Chicago has no one to be afraid of. Duda's dead.
You need to build something new.
Maybe now we can get some peace.
But it's still Chicago.
Streets always gonna have a villain.
Yeah, I'm ready for the fight.
I'm none like that old ass that was in charge before me. Any one of you disrespect me, I'll kill you.
I'm ready for war. I'm ready for
Men have terrorized this city long enough. Women, we have to do something. Like what? To protect this city, we have to clean up these streets ourselves. One of these hoodlums killed my son. You're planning revenge, aren't you?
I'm begging you. Do whatever it takes.
My brothers and sisters, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Why does peace make us feel restless? Why are we so drawn to chaos? We need someone to show us a new way.
time to get to work.
As I mentioned, we are honored to have 3 of the cast members of The Chi now in its final season on Showtime. So since there are 3 of them, we're going to do this very carefully, kind of like 2 porcupines making love, very carefully to get through this hour, which means we're going to talk to them one at a time so we can hear the best of what they have to offer us. Let me start by welcoming Luke James to this program. Luke, how are you, sir?
Man, I'm magical. Thank you so much. This is awesome to be talking with you.
Oh, it's an honor to have you on, and I love that word. I'm magical. I may have to steal that one. I'm magical.
Take it. I gave it to me as yours.
I love it. Birgundi Baker, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. So I got miracle, I got magical, and I got wonderful. Vic Mensa, what you got for me?
Phenomenal.
Okay, I like that. I'll take it. Magical, wonderful, and phenomenal. I'll take all 3 of those. Let me start with you, Luke. I'll ask all 3 of the same questions. I said we're going to do this for the hour, and I'm glad to have you. Just give me your opening thoughts on the closing of this show. You first, Luke.
Oh wow, yeah. It's something that we all have been feeling was kind of reverberating that was going to happen in regards to Duda. Rob, I had no idea. It's a lot. This show is always throwing me for a loop.
Yeah.
So it's a ride.
Yeah. Birgundi, your thoughts on the closing of the show?
Everything is everything that the audience wanted and everything that the audience didn't want.
That's one way to put it. Vic, what are you thinking these days as the show is in its final season?
I think it's a blessing to have a Black show that has been able to withstand and have longevity to begin with. So I think that it's been a beautiful run, and that this season will give people what they need.
Yeah. I've got all kinds of questions for Luke, Birgundi, and Vic about the show, about this season, about their experiences on this program. Vic puts his point on it, and I couldn't agree more. That it is a beautiful thing. It's a blessing to have a Black show that runs for any length of time, particularly in a moment where everything Black is under attack. Given the moment that we find ourselves in politically in this country and for that matter culturally. So it's going to be a great hour talking about the final season of the Showtime hit program, The Chi. You're listening to Luke and Birgundi and Vic, and I'm glad about it right now on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. Think about your mentors and idols, the people who inspire you the most. While it may look like they have all the answers, they don't. But they do know when to ask questions and seek the support they need. In a world that glorifies hyper-independence, it's easy to forget that we're all better with a support system. Therapy is a great way to find a consistent source of support in your life, so you can break free from the outdated belief that seeking help is a sign of weakness. BetterHelp has experienced therapists ready to help you with challenges ranging from anxiety and depression to relationships and stress. It's convenient, too. You can join a session with the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. You can even send your therapist a message anytime something comes up. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/ABCRadio today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ABCRadio.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
You really about to do it? 40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music. You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. Who among us doesn't like Black music? But Kendrick is right. This moment is so much bigger than music. These are serious times. We've got serious problems, and we need serious people who understand that slogans are not solutions.
When you want substantial and sober analysis about things that matter to you and the ones you love, this is where you turn. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black. More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
I'm Tavis Smiley. Glad to have you with us in this hour. We're talking in this hour to three cast members of The Chi, Luke James, Birgundi Baker, and Vic Mensa, and I'm delighted to have them on this program. I refer to this as the final season because that's what kind of came in my world. It is true they have not announced the next season, but this may not be the actual final season. So let me just back down on that. I will deal with my producers when I get off the air about that misinformation. But for the time being, the show is on the air. Again, they've not announced the next season, so hopefully this won't be the final season, but I never, ever in the course of my career want to give out false information, so I don't want y'all running around saying I heard Tavis say it's the final season. You did. I'm backing off of that. It may not be the final season, but we're going to have a great conversation nonetheless as we move through this hour about The Chi, whether it is or isn't the final season. I still got questions about this show, and I'm delighted to have them on to talk about it. I think I want to start with you on this question, Vic. What aspects of Chicago's culture, specifically the South Side culture or experience, do you feel that the show has, over these seasons, has captured most authentically?
I think that the show does a great job of interplaying the joy and pain of the South Side of Chicago. Mm-hmm. And there's so much love and celebration of our culture, and there's also so much corrosive, violence and infighting between us. Mm-hmm. And the show is realistic in that depiction. Oftentimes Chicago is flattened as the scapegoat for Black criminality, which is in violence, which is the American experiment is based on violence. But Chicago is a brilliant scapegoat. And the show, The Chi, does a great job of not shying away from the ugly parts of Chicago, but giving them context in the larger fabric and framework of human beings with families, with, children, with parents, with love, in their hearts that are in a corrosive environment,
Yeah. Speaking of framework, I love that word. Vic, I'm still talking to you. There are a couple of things you said a moment ago. I want to give you a chance to unpack a little more for me. I love your use of the term flattened because you're right. Chicago gets flattened all the time in conversations about crime in this country, specifically big city crime. The mayor, Brandon Jackson, was on this program not long ago. I've known Brandon for years. We're friends. But it's not just Brandon. I mean, obviously prior to Brandon, whenever Republicans, let me just be honest about it and be direct about it. This is my commentary, not yours. But whenever the right wants to use an example of big city crime, Chicago is always Exhibit A. But I love the way you phrase it, that Chicago is a brilliant scapegoat. That's a great line, a brilliant scapegoat. Unpack that for me, Vic.
We got to look at real experiments such as public housing that Chicago was the literal testing grounds for. It was the largest public housing experiment in the nation. And when all of these poor people were stacked on top of each other in project buildings and, invariably denied access to different communities through redlining, standard of living and education, and crime will follow. And then public housing is torn down, and those individuals are then spread all throughout the city into different areas that have now become warring factions of street organizations and gangs. It was just like an actual experiment. That's why they call it the projects. It was a project, a science project of how can we use and abuse these poor people? How can we marginalize them, keep them in one place, now spread them out? And, when I say that the scapegoat is that, man, they love to throw a stone and hide the hand. You know what I mean? Like the things that have created the situation in the streets of Chicago now are very well documented. Like you can follow the through line to see exactly how you end up in a city with so much violence. But it's convenient for those on the right and, you know, in national politics, etc., to erase the history, to revise it, because revisionist history is how you keep the American dream alive. You know what I mean? And so it's convenient to forget, have that selective amnesia of what political actions led to this current moment, and just, you know, point at the problem without taking accountability for the problem. And it's America's problem. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's real. That's real. That's real as rain. Luke, I'm always fascinated over the course of my career talking to, you know, all kinds of actors. I'm always fascinated by the ways in which playing a particular role, playing a particular character ends up impacting and affecting actors as they move on with their life, even beyond playing that particular character. I say that to ask how portraying your character has affected your personal perspective on things like community and family and these urban challenges that Vic is just now talking about.
Well, the my character is in a very unique way. His appetite to make change in his community, to right some of his wrongs in his community, because he understands the language of his community is loosely based on, you know, historical figures from Chicago.
Sure.
Larry Hoover, you know, the concept of being from being of an organization, if you will, and having a sense of a tie to politics, and being able to liaison opportunities for your community to be better. For me, it's just opened my eyes to just how I'm from New Orleans, and it's very similar how much I can relate, how much, you know, we have projects in New Orleans, and it's the same thing. It's all created the same way. When Vic is speaking, I'm just like, wow, that's very similar to where I'm from, and it just kind of really pulls everything into focus on the larger issue, on who is making these decisions for our people. And you know, it's just beautiful to be a part of a show that allows that, you know, not just, you know, for the sake of as an artist to just exercise my artistry, but also to gather information on our culture and how we got here, and why we're this way, and why are things the way they are.
Yeah.
You know, it's you hope to have a great experience such as this.
Yeah. What's your sense, Luke? If I ask this question of every actor on the program, or every fan of the show, I get a different response. But I'm talking to you right now, Luke. So let me ask you, what is your sense of the statement that this series has made about the city of Chicago?
Oh, my sense is that the show is, outside of entertainment, the point of it is to humanize the Black experience. Chicago, South Side of Chicago, to the rest of this country, has an idea of it because of the way media portrays it to be, and which is why it's so beautiful to be able to have such a show like this that is able to take those myths and legends and those ideologies that you may be just living with because you're not here, you don't live in Chicago, you don't know, you haven't talked to anyone from Chicago, you're just taking what, you know, face value from the media. This show helps you understand that these are people with lives, with loved ones, and are struggling like anyone from New Orleans to North Carolina to anywhere else you are. We are all fighting for space to be seen, to be cherished, to be loved, to be protected. And you know, that's the beauty of this show. It's grounded in the reality of our experience of the diaspora.
Yeah. This show is as real as any show I've ever seen about the city of Chicago or Birgundi Baker. And when you're that real, it can be hard to watch at times. And by hard to watch, I just mean there are storylines and episodes that I can only imagine. I'm not an actor, but there are storylines and episodes that I would assume present an emotional challenge to film. If that is true, can you tell me about a particular episode or scene that you found emotionally challenging to film over these seasons?
I think any episode, any scene where Kiesha was missing, where Kiesha was kidnapped, was very, very challenging emotionally for me as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
I had to just dig to a place that I've never been before in order to really represent for these girls who are actually missing, who are and have been missing. But it's an honor as an actor. You hope to get roles that tell true stories with heavy emotion, that reflect real people, that make a change. If your job isn't shifting the culture and putting a mirror to the culture, then what is it doing? So it's an honor to have to go deep, have to isolate yourself, have to research, have to ask people questions, have to learn more about the hard truths of the real world. It's heavy, but you put your all into it. You wear that responsibility with honor, and then you leave it.
Yeah. So I'm sitting in Los Angeles right now, as you may know. This program is syndicated, so we're being heard in markets, of course, all across the country, including WVON in Chicago right now. I love VON, speaking of Chicago. But you said something a moment ago, Burgundy, that I want to come back to. I said I'm sitting in California because California, one of the first states, I think probably the first state in the country, to bring online what's called an ebony alert. And these ebony alerts, as you know, are about these young black girls and black women who go missing. And so your point about Kiesha and these various scenes and episodes where Kiesha could not be found puts me in this mindset of asking you what it's like to play a character who's experiencing something on film that actually is happening in real life every day for too many black women and girls.
Kiesha gave me a sense of philanthropy, that this job is not just about being on screen, but what are you going to do off screen?
Yeah.
Talking to young women, talking to families, partnering with the Black and Missing Foundation, partnering with organizations for adolescents. It's more than the show. It's bigger than Kiesha. Philanthropy.
Yeah, I love that. That's what I was saying when we were talking to Luke earlier. There are always ways in which you play a character, but it impacts you in your real life in real ways. And so I'm not surprised to hear that. I'm heartened to hear it, but not surprised to hear it at all. Vic, I want to come back to you now because this kind of picks up on something you said earlier. I'm curious as to how being on this show, being a member of this cast, has changed the way you view topics like policing, community activism, urban development. Those are just things running through my head. You can pick any of those as you will, but I'm just curious as to how playing a character has impacted the way you view these pressing and sometimes intractable issues that we deal with in this country.
You know, my instinct is to say that it hasn't changed the way that I view them as much as like giving credence to my beliefs. I feel like we're very similar artists, a lot of us that, you know, collaborate on this show, and definitely like Lena and I feel come from similar stock, you know, the things that we're inspired by and the ways that we look at the world and community. Like even as we've been gearing up for this show to come out this season, she and I have been reading these books. Like she suggested some things to me that got me back active reading. And then we were reading, there's a Manning Marable Malcolm X biography.
Classic text, classic. Yeah.
Really dope. You know, there's a whole different perspective on Malcolm X's life. Then there's another Dr. King biography that's just called King Alive.
Oh yeah.
You know, that
Jonathan Ive, great book, yeah.
That she directed me to, and I see a lot of those strategic ideas showing up, like in the writing and in the ideologies and concepts of the show, be it through different characters or just kind of overarching themes. And one thing I will say that playing my character gives me a renewed perspective in is just the way that I look at somebody coming out of prison. You know, I'm very close with a lot of people in the prison, and I do a lot of work with prison release and programs in the joint. In the show, my character Jamal is coming out of prison into like sobriety and transmutation of my past. And it's been interesting for me mentally, emotionally, spiritually diving into those experiences and placing myself in that same cell where I'll be talking to somebody on the phone out here. Whereas in the show, I'm in that cell and I'm like, you know, in the belly of the beast. The prison is the belly of, that's the true heart of America. And placing myself in that space and thinking about, you know, how forgotten one experiences life when you're in prison for some years, and how much gratitude, you know, I have coming out into freedom. Man, we take for granted the simple things we do every day so often because we want more. You know, we want more money, we want more financial stability, we want a better car, bigger house, more roles. But like just waking up in the morning with the ability to choose where I'm gonna go today, when I'm gonna eat, you know what I mean? Like I feel like when I'm in my character as Jamal, it helps remind me as Vic to be grateful for autonomy.
I love that. I say it all the time that gratitude is the gateway to greatness. If you would be great, you have to find yourself first in a space of gratitude. I believe that gratitude is the gateway to greatness. Vic mentioned Malcolm X. It just so happens that Minister Malcolm's 100th birthday is on Monday, May 19th. May 19th. Our lead guest on this coming Monday is Atala Shabazz, the oldest and first child, of course, of Malcolm and Sister Betty. So Atala Shabazz, our first guest on in our first hour on Monday's program on the 100th birthday of Minister Malcolm X. Season 7 of The Chi premieres tomorrow night, Friday, May 16th, on Paramount Plus with Showtime. So more with these cast members, Luke James, Birgundi Baker, and Vic Mensa when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Hollywood Park officials plan to build a movie studio in Inglewood, California, announced by developer and LA Rams owner Stan Kroenke. Inglewood's Black Mayor James T. Butts Jr. says his city has turned into a global destination.
Los Angeles County had one international city before. That was Los Angeles City. Now it has a second, the city of Inglewood.
The facility aims to be the international broadcast center for the 2028 Olympics. Memphis, Tennessee is asking a federal judge to sanction Tyree Nichols' family's attorneys for misleading the public about their $550 million lawsuit's impact. The dispute escalates the legal battle over Nichols' death. The court hasn't ruled yet. And drug overdose deaths decreased by 30,000 in 2024, the largest one-year decline ever. Factors include naloxone availability, expanded addiction treatment, and changes in drug use. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year and their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL released the full schedule for the 2025 season. The Chargers will play the Kansas City Chiefs in their regular season opener. That game will be Friday night, September 5th in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The Rams will be at home for their regular season opener. They play the Houston Texans on Sunday, September 7th at SoFi. First regular season game for Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter and the Jacksonville Jaguars will be in Jacksonville on Sunday, September 7th against the Carolina Panthers. The Minnesota Timberwolves are the second team to reach the conference finals in the NBA playoffs. Minnesota eliminated Golden State Wednesday night in 5 games. They will play either Denver or Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals. Game 6 is in Denver tonight. Indiana will play New York or Boston in the East Finals. Game 6 is Friday night in New York. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again. Holla.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
We love you. Love you.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Luke James, Birgundi Baker, and Vic Mensa, 3 of the stars of The Chi on Showtime. The 7th season premieres Friday, May 16th on Paramount Plus with Showtime, and so we're delighted to have them on in this hour. I said earlier, and I repeat because again, I always want to be accurate in my public pronouncements, that I started the show saying that this is the final season. I cannot independently verify that. What I do know is that season 7 premieres tomorrow, and so please forgive me and my team for suggesting that this is the final season, we don't know that, and we pray not. But we do know that season 7, again, premieres tomorrow, Friday, May 16th, on Paramount Plus with Showtime. And so there you have that. Just always want to be transparent about these things. Again, pleased to be in conversation with Luke and Birgundi and Vic about their different roles in this long-running series on Showtime. You mentioned, Vic, I think it was you that mentioned Lena earlier, Lena Waithe, the showrunner here, the producer of this. Just talk to me. She's done so much great work over the years. Just talk to me about what it has been like for these seasons so far to be a part of a project that is helmed by her and her vision for this show, Vic.
Lena's vision is very expansive. I'm greatly inspired by her ability to weave so many topics of import into a cohesive framework of this size. I write many things, lyrics, essays, scripts, and this format is massive. Like as a writer, to imagine your ideas at this grandiose scale, and I think that what makes Lena's writing and her creativity so special is how steadfast and dedicated she is to writing work of substance. Like that's what matters the most to her, that it be of substance, that it be reality, that it be duality, that it be empathy, it be humanity, and all the commercial aspects, sexuality, which is humanity as well, kind of current events. She finds a way, to make it commercial. And I mean, that's kind of like the big pursuit, is how can you do something? I'm sure that in your conversations on this platform, Tavis, you often think about how can I speak on the conversation that needs to be had in a way that will travel and it will translate and people will be galvanized by it. And that's what Lena has found a way to do with this show.
I appreciate that, Vic, and you're right about that. That's my motif, right? I say all the time that my work at its best, not just on this program, but all 30 plus years of my TV and radio career, has ultimately been about challenging people to re-examine the assumptions they hold, helping them to expand their inventory of ideas and to see the world through a different prism. But that all starts, it seems to me, with me showing up every day in whatever iteration of my career we're talking about, being as authentic as I can and trying to engage people in authentic conversations. I say to my team here, this program, as I said, is syndicated, we're heard all across the country, but my home station that I own here in L.A., KBLA, where I sit right now, I'm always saying to my talent here that it's about what I call generous listening and charitable listening. The more generously, the more charitably you listen, the better talk show host you will be. But ultimately, our work has to be, and I think this is true for all artists, including, of course, the three I'm talking to right now. Our work is at its best. Our work is at its apex when our work allows others to situate their humanity in the story that we're telling. And that's the mark of a great writer like Lena. When people can situate, they can watch your work and see your witness and situate their humanity in the story that you are telling, that is the sweet spot. Luke, any thoughts on that, or just this broader notion of being a part of a show that tells a story that is authentic to people who watch it?
I mean, that is the purpose of art, in this type of art. There are art that is a lot escapism. That is escapism. I don't think that's what this is. This is to humanize our experience, the Black experience, and just put it right there in your living room with your family. And when the show goes off, leaves you with questions, and wondering about the possibilities and things, expanding your inventory of all the things you think of, all the different cultures that live around you. We all are seeking a space of safety, protection, and love.
Yeah. Birgundi Baker, as I said a moment, I've had the honor in my career to talk to pretty much everybody. And I always love when I get a chance to talk to people as their career unfolds. Denzel was here not long ago, and I've talked to Denzel. You know, we're friends, but I've talked to him so many times over the course of his career. And there are other actors I could list who I've had the honor to talk to repeatedly over the course of their careers. So you see the choices that they are allowed to make as their careers unfold and expand. And one of the things that always strikes me as interesting about shows like these is that you don't know for the rest of your career if you'll ever get another chance to be a part of a big black cast like this. Mm-hmm. You don't know where your career is going to take you, but it seems to me that you have to steep yourself in the moment of just appreciating and reveling in what it means to be a part of a big black cast while you're a part of it. Talk to me about that part, Birgundi Baker.
It is no small thing. It is no small thing. I'm very blessed, and I have to pinch myself every day. I'm a graduate of Howard University. And
go Bison, go Bison, go Bison. Yeah.
You know, yes. They gave us technique and discipline to do this very thing. They told us to go out, don't just be an artist, be a black artist. And so I'm living the dream, and I'm thankful.
Yeah, yeah. Vic, your thoughts on that, what it means to be at this point in your career a part of an all-star African-American cast?
It's an immense blessing.
Yeah.
I had a quote by David Hammonds speaking about an artist named James Terrell that came to me as you were asking another question. And James Terrell is an artist who deals primarily with light and beautiful kind of like rooms full of translucent light. David Hammonds is the one who created the Black American flag. Mm-hmm. And he was asked in the 90s about James Terrell's work, and he's like, man, I love it, you know, just to be able to just deal with light like that. But like as a black artist, we're too oppressed for me to be dabbling out there like that. You know, and that came to me in the moment of this conversation, just thinking about, making work of weight, you know what I mean? Because obviously we're artists beyond, you know, our cultural identity and everything, but like, it's real, you know, that we are black people dealing with a very unique set of circumstances and challenges. And it's special to be called to make like work of weight, you know, because that's where we at with it, and that's what we got to do. So I love being in this context, especially with, you know, this amazing cast of people that are on that same frequency and wavelength.
Yeah, Vic just dropping bars everywhere. I love that line, work of weight. That's what you want to do, right? You hope you are blessed enough to do work that has some weight to it. I like that phrase, work of weight. Speaking of great phrases, everybody uses this phrase these days for the culture. When we come forward, I want to ask Luke and Birgundi and Vic what they think the Chi has done or is doing for the culture. That's the question when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Kiesha, Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their programs. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and three of the amazing cast members of The Chi on Showtime. Season 7 premieres again Friday, May 16th on Paramount Plus with Showtime. I'm delighted to be in conversation with three of the fine actors on the program, Luke James, Birgundi Baker, and Vic Mensa. Birgundi, I'll start this with you, I should say. Again, everybody uses that phrase these days, for the culture. Everything's for the culture. Actually, that's a lie. Everything ain't for the culture, but everybody uses that phrase, for the culture. What's your sense, though, of what it means to be on a show that is, in fact, doing something for the culture, and how would you define what The Chi is doing for the culture?
Doing something for the culture means showing the realness, raising questions that make people think, writing characters that show people themselves, make people feel represented, challenging people to really see the problems in our community. I'm certain that The Chi is inspiring a new generation of writers, directors, actors, that they can see The Chi and say, wow, I can do that. Like, this is a successful show with successful people that look like me. So I know that we're inspiring another generation of artists. And there's this through line every season, no matter how much we talk about projects and streets and, all of those types of things that go on our show. There's also a through line of love, and to show our people that love exists in so many ways amongst all of these other things, that love doesn't go anywhere. I think that is for the culture.
Yeah. Since you said it, Birgundi, let me stay with you right quick here. I love that frame. What do you think this show is doing? What's it adding? Let me reframe that. What is it adding to this notion, this conversation about Black love in our country right about now?
Black love can stand the test of time. Black love doesn't have to look one way. Black love means loving who you want to love. Black love means family. Black love means friends. Black love means passing things down to the next generation. Black love is everything. Black love is everything. Black love is so strong.
Yeah. Luke, same question for you. What do you think The Chi is doing for the culture?
It's expanding. It's continuing on from where the Debbie Allens left off with A Different World and so on. It expands our diaspora, our experience. It humanizes our experience, but also allows us, because this show is for us, by us, to see who we are. Really reflect on who we are, who we've been, and who we can become, the possibilities, the way we love, the way we show up for each other. A lot of the show, there is a lot of accountability in the show, and I think that is key in our culture. Our culture it derives from the village. I don't know about other cultures per se, but I know specifically Black culture, Black and brown culture, we are about a village tribe, right? And it's about holding each other up and holding each other accountable for everything, The through line, yes, is love on The Chi. That's just, every character on The Chi is in pursuit of love in their way. Every character, and which is every person is the same for every person in this world.
I think Luke puts his finger on it. That's why this show has gotten to season 7. Season 7 premieres again Friday night, May 16th on Paramount Plus with Showtime. He put his finger on it when he said it's for us, by us, and I would add about us. That's the sweet spot. For us, by us, and about us. And that's why The Chi is still going strong 7 seasons in. When we come forward in our remaining moments, I'll put that question to Vic Mensa about what he believes this show, The Chi, is doing for the culture. And then we'll offer this as our exit question. I believe the exit question will be the fan feedback. I'm always fascinated to hear what the stars of these shows hear from their fans that empower them, that inspire them, that encourage them to do better work the next day they go back on the set. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
BET and PBS, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
I got a tight four here to wrap this hour with Luke, James, Birgundi Baker, and Vic Mensa talking about season 7 of The Chi, which premieres again Friday, May 16th on Paramount Plus with Showtime. Vic, let me come to you first and give you a shot at that question. Then I want to go one more time around the group. But what's The Chi, to your mind, doing for the culture, sir?
The Chi is giving an empathetic perspective on Chicago. And by proxy, Brooklyn, South Central LA, Baltimore, because every hood is the same in many ways. The Chi is a show run by Black women and fueled on women characters. So it's showing you that that's commercially viable. And you know, what is for Black women is for the culture. Yeah. So having a show of this magnitude and this longevity that's like spearheaded by women, by Black women. I think is a big win for the culture.
Nope, I think you're right about that. All right, last question, my exit question to all three of you. I start with Birgundi Baker first. The fan feedback, I can only imagine the stuff you hear from people when you show up out of character in restaurants and hotels and airports, et cetera, et cetera. What have you most enjoyed hearing from the fans, Birgundi? What's most inspired you as you play Kiesha on the show?
I love when a fan tells me, you remind me of my daughter, you remind me of my sister, you remind me of my niece, you remind me of my neighbor. I love it. It makes me feel like I'm doing my job and, again, holding a mirror for people to see themselves.
That's beautiful. Luke, talk about the fan love, man.
Man, I feel like I could run for mayor anywhere I go. It's like, it is profoundly gratifying because we spend 7 months out the year creating this thing, and it is, it's important that it moves the needle in our fans' hearts, and I can't imagine what Lena feels each season, because it has to hit home, and it does. We're out here in New York, and we're touching the people, and I mean all walks of life. All walks of life watch this show and are moved by this show and our characters, and it just means the world to be a part of something like this.
Last word, Vic Mensa. Talk to me about fan feedback, sir.
One of the dopest moments of fan feedback I had was I was in Paris for Fashion Week, maybe last summer, and it was the late night restaurant Champs-Elysees.
Oh,
and I was in there before 4 a.m. and there was a Black couple sitting there, and they were like, "Yo, man, we love the Shy. We love you on the Shy." And, we found you there. We went and discovered your music through there. And I just thought that was so dope to be, halfway across the planet. And, like, the people that were there were tapped in with what we're doing.
Yeah. Getting love anywhere is a beautiful thing. I take it where I can get it, but when you get on the Champs-Elysees, I ain't mad at you, Vic Mensa. That ain't the worst place. That ain't the worst place to get some Black love. I thank Vic Mensa, I thank Birgundi Baker, and I thank Luke James, three of the stars of The Shy, for coming on in this hour to celebrate what will be season 7 in its premiere Friday, May 16th on Paramount Plus with Showtime. It's an amazing series, and as Luke said earlier, it's by us, for us, about us, and that is a beautiful thing. Luke, good to have you on. Thanks for your time, sir. All the best to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Birgundi, a delight to have you on. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Vic Mensa, deeply appreciate you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Much appreciated, bro. Thank you.
Thank you. Just like that, 3 hours gone. Tomorrow is Friday, so tomorrow's the best of Tavis Smiley. Going to be tough this week to figure out what hours to reprise tomorrow. A great week of shows. Thanks for tuning in. Again, the best of Tavis Smiley tomorrow. Until then, thanks for tuning in, and as always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Hollywood Park officials plan to build a movie studio in Inglewood, California, announced by developer and LA Rams owner Stan Kroenke. Inglewood's Black Mayor James T. Butts Jr. says his city has turned into a global